Takes a sec. Welcome, everyone, to Women's Speakers Association's WSA TV Premier Women's Show. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and producer with Gail Watson, the founder of Women's Speakers Association. Today we're talking about the upcoming International Women's Day. And when I was talking to Gail, you and I were saying, well, it's International Women's Day every day at Women's Speakers Association. So we just wanted to really kind of talk about International Women's Day, the international date that, that has been put out there, and how we do it here. Welcome, Gail.
Hi, everybody. This is great. This is an awesome, we love International Women's Day and that it actually has a date because it all gets us thinking. But as Laura said, yes, every day in Women's Speakers Association is Women's Day. And so an interesting exercise I just recently did was to research, where did this International Women's Day come from? Why is it here? And I'll just share with you what I found, that this day was aimed to help nations worldwide eliminate discrimination against women. It also focused on helping women gain full and equal participation in global development. So this day is celebrated, it was marked and celebrated globally on March 8th, okay? Every year in honor of the remarkable contribution that women are making in our society. The day also commemorates the inspiring role of women around the world. Another, and that's why we say that is every day in Women's Speakers Association. Another fun fact was the color. The color of International Women's Day is purple. Just happens to be the color, as you see in our posters. And interesting, the color purple combines the calm stability of blue and the fierce energy of red. So the color purple is often associated with royalty, nobility, luxury, power, and ambition. So when I really think about what it means to be a woman in 2020, there's a wide variety of things that go through our mind, very multifaceted individuals that we are. Being a woman means really to me is having a strong sense of identity, accepting your body as one that adapts and changes over time, being confident and building up the other people in your life. It means you have the wisdom to be grateful for what you have while still being hungry enough for growth. So that's some of the fun facts I learned about International Women's Day.
It's coming up. It's March 8th, and we are, some people celebrate it, some people march, some people go do events with their women's. And every day here is, every day we're women. So what is it to be a woman in 2020? Like, how would you define that?
Well, just as I was sharing that we're really multi-purpose and we have so many messages. And what I love about the Women and Women's Speakers Association is we have a lot of bold, brave, and brilliant women who really put themselves out there. They will challenge the status quo. They will bring light to once dark subjects that we're not to talk about. They stimulate conversation and dialogue. And the women here are really here with their gifted message to guide, to inspire, or to teach. Bottom line is they're here to make a difference.
Yes, the impact that women make is huge. It's really, I think one of the things we do really well here at Women's Speakers Association is inspire and ignite women's messages. We do that in so many ways.
Mhm.
We've got, and you just mentioned the subtitle of the last Voices of the 21st century, bold, brave, and brilliant women who make a difference. That's so right? It's
Yeah.
like, you know, women are still being discriminated around the world, but we're not letting that stop us. We're not buying that, right? In a sense. Would you agree?
Not at all. And it really has come from meeting the members right here in this community and having daily conversations. As you know, we often, we get off the phone with one of our members, and I know personally, I just am filled. I'm inspired. I'm excited. And sometimes I go, wow, I just can't believe some of the things that people are doing from simple tasks to taking on really big, challenging subjects. Like the empowerment to make a difference is right here and present. And that's why it became so important to capture all these stories from the members that we hear over time. And each year we produce this book. It's called Voices of the 21st Century. This is the second one. This was Bold, Brave Women Who Make a Difference. And Laura and I were just going through it and just reminiscing over some of the stories, and some that
Both books, actually, the first one and the second one, right?
and the first one, yeah, I don't have that copy just right here in front of me. But just to give you an example of some of the topics that are tackled in this book, I mean, we have Trilby Johnson. Hi, Trilby, if you're out there, who was born in South Africa and now lives in New Zealand. And her title is called The Antidote to Racism. I mean, she writes, when we allow hatred to fill our hearts, we become blind to the beauty of life. That's the purpose of racism, is to create that, right? So she says, I chose to live a life with my eyes wide open and to all life and love. And in her chapter, in the story that she shares, she gives the antidote to it. Like, what can we do to stop racism? We know it's rampant, and she shares her personal experience, experiencing it, but also shares how we can combat it and change that game. Uh, Another one, just the chapter right before, is Dr. Neely Johnson. She really touched her heart. She's a medical doctor from Canada, from the Vancouver area in Canada. And as a medical doctor, she knew she could, heal people as they came in. But she knew that there was more to healing than just, fixing those symptoms that approached her. She wanted to go deeper. She wanted to go to the core as to why people were getting ill and how they could actually cure themselves. Remarkable conversations with Dr. Neely, phenomenal woman. And what she wanted to do was get her message out. So she contributed her, a brief article in Voices of the 21st Century. Now, the importance of why it's so important to get your message out is just as our book was being published, she went on a vacation, I believe it was to Italy, with some girlfriends, and suffered a cardiac arrest. While she was there, her books did arrive to her home, but unfortunately, she passed away while she was away and never did see the book come out in its physical form, which always made me quite sad. But what gives us light and hope about her message is it is here forever. It is absolutely here forever, and it's being shared around the world. And that's powerful. So our voice continues. And these are just some examples of why it's so important, and this is an everyday experience for us as women here.
Yeah, and it's every day globally. We are an international organization. We've got women with speakers bureaus in the Middle East and women in South Africa challenging the government there and bringing justice for women. We've got women in Amsterdam and Europe who are creating our Global Connectors program, right?
Yeah, we have Lois Wagner, who is in South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa, is now one of our global business connectors, which means she is pulling women together around in her area of Johannesburg to gather, to empower, to share their voices. Now, Lois was raped tragically I believe the details of the story was she was just going to her car. She was one of the first women to bring justice successfully, to challenge the law there and bring justice to her attackers. This is a big statement and movement for the fact that she was brave enough to do this. And she is currently putting on, actually, she's starting next month. She's doing a big online summit where she's bringing together women from all over the world, and they're talking about rape, right? They're no longer they're releasing the shame from it. They are speaking about it. They're not, women aren't accepting it anymore. They're not accepting the blame of it, and they're not accepting the shame of it. And that's just an example of, from our experiences, regardless what it is, that how we can transform the lives of others, right? We have Michelle Cameron, gold medal Olympian in 1988. Proud of her, Michelle. She was in our first book and shared an athlete for all her life, and shared the pressures of that level of being an elite athlete, and the pressures of having a body a certain way and attaching that to eating disorders, in with the inspiration of making sure, as her daughters grew into also elite athletes, that they didn't carry this, that there is no shame in our bodies, and that they don't have to be the size 0 or 00. And that's what I mean when I say, when accepting our bodies today as one that adapts and changes over time, right? We have our bodies when we're in our teens, we have our bodies going through our 20s, we have our bodies when we're pregnant, we have when menopause hits, we change. And we really need to celebrate that, and not make put shame to it, that we're not the size 0, that we're not a certain way.
And it's no longer a taboo. We're talking about things to normalize them,
Yeah.
to make them okay. Things happen in the world, and there's something to do about it. And I love how you said, that we want to take the shame out of it and put the power back in, because the minute you talk about it, you have your power back. The minute you do something, you're in your power, and you can keep going and building that momentum to transform lives, your life. And then if you're taking a stand to do something for yourself, like Lois did, you're actually setting a precedence for others, giving others permission. And I think that is the message, or the underlying meta theme of International Women's Day. It's like, okay, women, it's our time. We have the power. It's time to step into it.
Yeah. I just want to share one thing that, and this is how I felt as I was interviewing different members for their stories. There's a lot of, some people have gone through a lot of trauma, big drama stories, and you just go, wow, how could I don't have a story. My story doesn't even compare to that, right? And that is a common thread within us. And, but here's the fact of the matter. And I'll share my personal feelings on this, because I was experiencing that as I was interviewing these women who are doing these crazy, just doing remarkable things. I thought, wow, I've had a pretty stable life. I don't have a whole lot of drama in it, but we all fall on dark times. And I too had a section of time where I fell in some dark times, and what saved me from it was the kindness of others. And that has always jumped out at me. And that's why I'm such an advocate for kindness and being kind to others, and giving and supporting where you can, is because it made such a difference in my own personal life, that I see the power of such a simple act,
You never know when you're going to make someone's day with just a smile, a kind word, a kind act. And, it's like, if you make a practice, if you just are naturally, not even make a practice, but if you're naturally kind or open person, you will transform lives. And it is huge. I remember standing in line at the grocery store, and the woman behind me had a kid, and the cashier was opening up another station, and I had a bunch of stuff. So, and there was somebody in front of me, and so the cashier tapped on that woman's shoulder and said, "Why don't you come over here?" So I helped her with her groceries, and she was so shocked that I would even do that. But it's just like automatic. And that's something to be. I was like, I did something good today, like I could see in her demeanor that I just took this much stress off of her life, and that if I can do that for someone every day, it's a good day. It's meaningful. Then she might go and do something. She might be less stressed, more happy. It's amazing. And welcome, Trilby. We told your story.
Oh, hey, Trilby, just if I, share more of your story if you want.
Yeah, and Kim was here saying it's an important message to accept our bodies as is, like you were saying, and we shouted out, and Evie is here. She's like, wow, she's amazed at your story. Um, you know, your stories. So stories are powerful. They're transformative. That's what we're here to do. We do that with the WSA publishing and the books that we have here, the Voices of the 21st Century. We have another one coming out. We have a group of 40 authors that are
Yeah.
so excited about the stories they're bringing out. That's coming out May 13th. So you'll be seeing more posts from us about that. You can support that book. But, just even going online and looking for these books on Amazon, and on our Voices of the 21st Century.com pages, you'll be like inspired. I was transformed. I sat down and read 3 or 4 stories one night, and I said, I'm a different person after reading these stories. I was in a space of like stress, and I got to a space of inspiration by the time um I read these stories, and I was like, I can do this. They got this. They're
Yeah.
inspiring me. I got it.
I really believe it's one of those, like the design of the book. These are 1,000-word chapters, and which is 3 pages basically.
Super
And they're
easy
just
to
really
read.
nice to scroll through and have the story find you, right?
Hmm.
Diverse story. And when people say, "Oh, what's the theme of the book? What's this?" What's You know what? Every message matters. It's not about a particular topic. It's about how an experience, a life experience, has impacted you as an individual, and you simply share those lessons to help others to change, whether it's inspiring or you're teaching. And that's what makes the difference, is when we do that, right?
Totally. Yeah. And I love that we have an annual book. It's always called Voices of the 21st Century. This one is Passionate, Powerful Women Who Make a Difference, or Powerful, Passionate Women Who Make a Difference.
Yeah, yeah,
One or the other. You'll see it when the book comes out. But and this one's Bold, Brave. So there's a theme in the sense that we're honoring women and their power.
yeah,
And women are talking about how they took on their power, how they made a difference in the world, and how they want to inspire others, whether it's with kids like Missy Jenna, or it's with teens and or 20 somethings, um, with like Paige and Will Hyde. And then we had even people talking about the midlife midwife, Serena Pelarroyo. And we've got so many people and we've got women in construction talking about how they're taking on a male dominated, environment.
mhm,
How do they do it? And even reading like about kids, and I don't have kids, but I'm just like more inspired to notice kids and be for them, and because they're our future anyway,
yeah. Well, I had my daughter contribute in there as a 20-year-old into and that was a beautiful experience because it really gave me insight to who she was and where her heart was, and she was removing the stigma of homelessness because she's in her education track right now. That's what she was studying, was that they're not who we have painted the picture. How we painted a picture and classified them as a certain way. They're a drug addict, they're this, they're that, and that's why they're homeless. No, there's other reasons around it. And she gives voice to
Mm,
the homeless. And I remember reading her story for the first time, just really moved at the power of, what a a 20, 21-year-old brings to this world. That will, just by reading that and gaining more insight, I promise you, you will look at our homeless, regardless of what city you're in, with through a different lens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, giving us different perspective, learning how other people live. And, on a weekly basis, we're always providing resources here at Women Speakers Association, whether it's a training. We have next week coming up. Debbie Hoffman is going to be talking about follow-up, the power of follow-up in a business. So if you are an entrepreneur, you want to get into business, this is a key training session. You can go to speakersuccesstraining.com if you're not even a member yet. If you're a premier member, then you get the training with your membership. But if you're not, speakersuccesstraining.com, and you can learn about and get supported by other women, because we have the results roundtable following that in the second week of the month. Anything you want to say about these things coming up?
Oh, how you make change in your business, how you make change with yourself is show up, right?
Yeah.
So show up live is obviously the best when you can join in on the conversation, but take advantage of the recordings for sure.
Exactly. Recordings come live. Be in touch with us. Go to joinwsa.com if you want more information on how to be a part of our community. We're really a close community for being virtual, for so much virtual activity that we have going on. As you can see, we have some comments coming in, and thank you, Trilby, for being here, and Lois and Eva. And we are just passionate about support. It's a collaborative model. And one thing I love that you've brought to the table and really live and instill upon us as the leadership team is collaboration is queen. You know, it's
Uh,
like we have to do that here. And I think International Women's Day speaks to that.
Absolutely. And that's why it's happening every day here. So we're not limiting it to March 8th only. So,
Every day is International Women's Day at Women Speakers Association. We welcome you to our community. We want to collaborate with you. Feel free to check us out on YouTube. We have a whole channel of all kinds of testimonials of some of our members, and we have all kinds of shows from past episodes of WSA TV. You can go to WSATV.com and see it. We're here for you, and it's been delightful chatting with you, Gail. Always great to talk about how we impact women and how women can make a greater impact in the world.
absolutely. Absolutely. And today I just posted, can I just share this one little quote here?
Yeah.
By Marianne Williamson. Many of you are probably familiar with it. And I just want to share this because it really hit me today. It reads, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Then it continues on and concludes with, and as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence, which automatically liberates others. It's by Marianne Williamson. It's a great quote to remind us that you have the power to do that. Stand out, be bright, inspire others, and you have the power and the permission to do the same for others. Okay?
And the support to, even if you fall flat on your face, to get right back up, we'll be here for you. So go for it. We love you. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.